Morning, Loz. How are you?
Good morning. I'm good. How are you?
Good. You feeling all right?
Yeah, good. How's your morning been?
All right. I'm a little bit husky today. You know what I did? Something stupid. I did a typical Nigel or Loz.
What'd you do? Fall over?
I didn't fall, but I burnt my throat.
Oh.
I put some beautiful noodles down my throat at lunchtime yesterday. Justin was watching and he laughed. He thought it was funny because I was gagging on it, like it was so hot. And anyway, it's given me like a sore throat now. I've got it like hard to swallow. Yesterday all day I felt like there was a noodle stuck in my throat. These are little thin glasshouse noodles. They're like tiny ones.
Kind of like when you eat hot chips and they come to the table and you know they're hot. You know.
But you want them.
But you straight up.
You gotta have them.
You straight up, you burn the inside, like every time.
Oh, look, I feel very foolish and I'm hoping it won't turn into a full-blown cold thing, but I've been very husky today. I've had a diff-lam. I've had some water. I've just been trying to battle through. I feel like I'm always battling through.
A little bit.
Yeah, it's a bit that way.
It is.
But it's the time of the year.
Yeah, it is. It's definitely the winter flu season.
And none of us are getting younger either, I guess.
Well, I might be.
You can't possibly.
I'm reversing the aging process.
I wish we could.
Can't you tell?
Well, yeah.
That's
especially with that lipstick on today. You got purple on today.
Yeah, decided to. Well, I woke up really early today and did go back to sleep, so I've had a really early start. So I was like,
one of those days.
I need to kind of like do like, a bright lip or something like that to kind of pump me up for the day,
You had Red Bull yesterday.
I did.
Is that why you woke up early?
Probably not. I just went
because it stays in your system for like days, doesn't it?
Not me. I'm a veteran. I'm a veteran of Red Bull. But no, essentially, my early morning I think was because I went to sleep early, which is weird because, as you said, I had Red Bull yesterday, but I went to sleep earlier than I normally would.
That's crazy. I did that Sunday.
Yeah, and so it was like, so I'm a pretty bad insomniac, and so I require very little sleep.
Right.
I'll have 4 hours and be like, I'm so refreshed. And so I went to sleep. Usually I go to sleep at like 1 o'clock.
Yeah.
I went to sleep, I reckon it was like 11 or something.
Wow.
And so then I just woke up at 5, like bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, and was like ready to start the day.
You seem pretty fired up today.
And then all of a sudden, but I was like awake for a few hours and then I was like, it's too late to go back to sleep now. But now I'm going to start to crash early.
You probably will. I think I will too. I'm feeling pretty good. I had 6 hours sleep last night, but I'm still recovering from the weekend where I didn't get enough sleep.
Yeah.
Because I did that same thing. Sunday night I did that whole, I'll go and have a nap at 6 o'clock. Mm-hmm. So I napped for 3 hours, then got up at 8 and didn't go back to bed until 1.
Yeah,
and so then I was technically, had 4 hours sleep. So really yesterday I'd had 4 plus the 3, I guess. I was okay. I didn't feel too bad yesterday, but I reckon this morning, 6 hours is okay.
Yeah.
I can't complain. But I tell you what, I reckon... You give me an idea.
Oh, that can't be good.
You know how you have breath tests for alcohol? You should have breath tests for is it guarana? Is that the stuff they put in that, Red Bulls? Whatever that.
Why?
You should have a Red Bull test to see if it's still in your system.
Why?
I think because, just for me, I'd love to demonstrate that it's still in your system. That's why. Like how long it lasts in your body. Like I reckon it must last days. When they did the drug tests on people and they go, oh, my God, but that was last week I smoked something, I did something.
It wouldn't still be in the system.
Oh, I reckon it would be for days.
Science. No, it wouldn't.
How long does it take to come out? Like, alcohol takes...
Hours.
Alcohol still stays in your system for what, a day, roughly?
Well, no.
If you had... You'd have some trace of it, surely.
No, there's a formula for it. It's an hour for every drink or whatnot.
But that would still get you down to under 0.05.
But like to go back to 0. So it's so say you've had 6 drinks.
Yeah.
Like 6 hours sleep. Like so, the only time it's ever still in your system the next day is when you have a really big night and you have 14 drinks because then it's 14 hours until it's out of your system.
Surely not. If you had 8 drinks the night before, I reckon
I'm
you'd
not
still
just saying it. That's a scientific fact. Did you not do this at school?
No.
We did this at school. The police came and everything. It was a whole thing when I was in year 12.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Because they did the whole, when people say, if you've had drinks or whatever, they say, have something to eat, have coffee, rah, rah. The whole point of this, experiment thing that they come and do, and they do like the big formula on the board and stuff, is they go through that those things that we see in movies and stuff like that are myths, not true.
Yes.
Like having coffee won't reduce the alcohol in your system. Having sleeping won't, food won't. It is only time. The only way that alcohol is then reduced from your system is time, and they do like the formula on the board for the time it takes to per drink
dissipate,
type of thing. Yeah.
Because my understanding is if you had 8 drinks the night before, like you had 8 drinks, you would still have something in your system. If you had a 4 or 5 hour sleep, like some of us do, you potentially could be like 0.01 or something still in the morning. You'd be legally able to drive, but you would have a little bit there.
But are you saying 4 to 5 hours sleep or 4 to 5 hours since the last drink?
Both.
Okay, so then it would be because it's an hour per drink.
That's what I thought.
Yeah. So 8 hours, if you've had 8
That's why
drinks,
we say to people, be very careful if you've been drinking the night before. Assume that you still have alcohol in your system the next day.
100%. When I remember it from being a P plater because you have to be 00, so having to sit there and do the math, like how many drinks have I had, how many hours has it been since my last drink?
When I got to P plater, I was an old P plater. I got there at 21. So I had 3 years from 21 to 24. And I was working at a university running a radio station, and they all thought I was a teetotaler. So it was all around the campus that, Nigel doesn't drink.
It's like, no, I got to be 00.
I grew up with a wine drinking family, so I was sipping wine at 12, tasting wine at 12. So I just didn't drink for 3 years because I didn't want to risk
losing
0.01 because it was 00 for P platers. So I was from 21 to 24, I didn't drink, 21 and a half. Then that's a time of life that we like to have a drink generally.
Absolutely.
But I was smart enough not to drink and drive, so that was good.
No, definitely.
Yeah.
I always just used to do the math, how many drinks I had, and then so if my last drink was at 8 o'clock at night and I had 6 drinks, 6 hours after 8 o'clock at night is when I would reach 00.
I have something else to mention too.
Sure.
You mentioned things taught at school. You reminded me of a subject we had called commerce. It was the strangest subject I've been involved in. They told you how to book holidays such to Phuket. I'd never heard of Phuket. Right, all these things like that, and that one of the things that the teacher, I remember his name. His name was Canty. He was a big man, very big man, and he had like a wart or something on his head, and he
That's
had
unfortunate for a
teacher.
teacher.
He had greasy comb over kind of hair. He was a bit of a lovely guy, really good teacher, and he was just straight down to earth. And he said one of the first things he said, like every year, someone from our school is involved in a car accident in some form, like their family or something like that. So we in other words, what we now call touched by the toll. You've seen that promotion over the time. So everyone's touched by the toll. And he said, so over every Christmas holidays, over that period, every year. And this was back, in the day. And he also told us, and this is the worst bit of advice you could ever get, and I couldn't believe it. I mean, it's totally inappropriate. But can you imagine a teacher saying this? And I am not advising this in any way. If you're going to kill someone, the only way to do it is in a car. You'll get less time in jail. He explained all the legal side of it to us. What? How could you do that in a classroom? I mean, it sticks with me today. Good teaching, I guess. But it's like saying if you run into someone, it's most likely going to be manslaughter.
He's basically trying to tell you to make it look like an accident.
Well, he wasn't trying to tell us to do it. He was never saying that. He's saying, but it would be manslaughter if it was done in a car.
It's just some life advice.
Yeah. Now we were in a pretty rough area of Melbourne. It's a good area now, but at the time it was commission housing, government housing. So you really don't want to be giving those kids advice like that
on how to do that.
How to, you don't really want somebody. But there's some truth in it, in the fact that yes, if you have an accident, or whether it's an accident or not, you are going to get less time in jail for that. But really, do you want to go to jail at all? Do you want to kill anybody? That's just wrong. It's wrong. I just thought it was really strange advice.
I had an automotives teacher.
Yeah.
That did some very questionable things, but it was actually stuff again that stuck with me now. It's always the questionable stuff that sticks with you.
What was it? Tell me about this.
He bought beer goggles. Oh, because this was an automotive. This was an automotive class. Right. A bunch of 15-year-olds. Yeah. He bought like the legitimate, expensive, like the proper beer goggles that make you dizzy and you can't see and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And then put us in a car.
And
it was obviously to teach us not to drink and drive. First, the first lesson was just trying to walk with them on and all that, and then it was. He had it was big on the oval or whatever. It was in a big area. It's not like he put us on a road, but it was like, wear these beer goggles, now get behind the wheel of a car. Like, he was trying to teach us obviously not to drink and drive. Like, this is what it would feel like. Why would anyone knowingly do this? This is ridiculous. Because obviously when you're wearing beer goggles, right? You're obviously, it's just the goggles, so your brain's completely there, so it's a bad decision. You're like, I can't even see straight. Why would anyone drive like this? But obviously, when someone actually does drink and drive, it's not just the beer goggles that they're wearing. It's also inhibitions are low. That I can do it. I can do anything. That feeling.
Yeah, that euphoria.
Yes. So you convince
yourself. Which is why sometimes you go up to someone of the opposite sex and make a move when you probably wouldn't.
When you probably wouldn't.
And beer, what do they say? What's that line? Beer. It's been making the opposite sex look great for centuries or something like that. I don't know. You know those signs. You've seen them in bars. We've got to go to the news, but let's keep talking about this soon, and we'll get back onto Cracker Tracker too, and Tracker Cracker.
Tracker Cracker.
All that. We'll do all that after the news here on Sun 969.